Hey everyone, welcome to the Tech and Real Estate live stream where we bridge the gap between real estate and technology. Today we have a really exciting topic, which is web scraping. And we have Noah Kalson here, Director of Brand Marketing for Bright Data. Welcome, Noah.
Hey, Ariel. Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. So just to kick it off, I'm going to share my screen here and go over what's going on in my world. And then we'll cover the main event, Q&A, and a little bit of what's coming as well.
Sounds great.
So what's going on in my world? If you guys have been following the YouTube channel, there's been a lot of new content related to how to gather leads using web scraping, as well as APIs like tired landlord leads, pre-foreclosures, and that all leads into a mini series that I've been leading. Last week was our first class. We have another one today. So if you did want to join that where it's live, please try to join ASAP. After that, it will just be a pre-recorded course that you could follow. As well in my world, since it is Halloween, happy Halloween for those that are excited about the holiday. For Orange Theory, which is a fitness related class, they have 7 days of Hell Week, which if you complete 4, you get like a t-shirt. I've done 3 so far. Not sure if I'll be able to make the last one. A lot of burpees, a lot of mountain climbing, but it's been really great getting back into it for the classes. But why you are all here is to learn more about Bright Data as well as web scraping. So we're super excited to have Noah here. And with that, Noah, I'd love to start off by just getting a little bit more about your background.
All right, perfect. Well, thanks a lot. Well, my background is less in real estate, more in marketing. I've been working in digital marketing for the past 18 years, mainly organic marketing, believe it or not. My passion has always been to find the opportunities to get in front of the right audience without having to pay for it. And that's something that I've always put at the forefront of my marketing vision. A lot of work with SEO, work within communities, specifically Reddit, trying to understand how people discuss a specific topic, finding problems, and providing the solutions right in front of them where they need to see it. Hence, the solutions that come with data and data for real estate.
Excellent. And how long have you been a part of Bright Data for?
All right, great. Well, I started working at Bright Data about 3 years ago now. Time flies when you're having fun. And slowly but surely, I've been able to adopt a broader vision about the importance of public data for businesses of all sorts, not just real estate, but the way a company is able to receive the data that they need is really the secret spice that they need to get ahead and sort of stay ahead of their competitors and get the edge that they need in their market.
Excellent. And Bright Data, before we dive into showing it off on your screen, could you give a little bit of an overview of what Bright Data is? Does it serve just like large companies, or could you be a small individual using it for your business purposes as well?
All right, so here we go. Let's dive into Bright Data. There's a lot to say, and I'll try to be as direct as possible and try to focus on what you guys need to hear. But if I forget something, um, don't hold it against me. So Bright Data is your 360 solution for web data collection. All right, Bright Data essentially developed the infrastructure needed to collect web data at scale. And when I'm talking about web data, I'm talking about publicly available web data, not anything behind a login or information from social media. No, it's anything that you're able to access with an incognito browser without a login. All right, so in order to access that data, the infrastructure you need would probably be a proxy network. Why is that? Because when you're trying to collect a lot of data at scale, there are techniques in place on many websites that would block you from collecting data, from returning to the same URL again and again and again, or the same website again, doing the same action, which is collecting information. And that becomes very difficult without the infrastructure that you need. So Bright Data has developed a proxy network, which has over 72 million IPs globally. The reason that's important, and I'll share an example later in our conversation, something happened to me right before our podcast. You might want to access information that is only accessible to a user sitting in the US. And if you're sitting abroad and you're trying to access that information from your computer, you won't be able to. So that really is an issue that a lot of companies are probably running into in the real estate area. If you're doing market research and your team is sitting abroad, then you would definitely need to be working through a proxy network. Okay. Secondly, there's another layer of access that Bright Data incorporates within our product, and that is the web unlockers. In addition to the proxy network, that's only the first layer. A lot of sites will not will look at your IP, but also try to understand your browser, who you are as a person or as a user. And it's very important to be able to access the website using a proper footprint. And Bright Data provides that footprint tools within our suite of tools to make sure that users are able to access publicly available web data at scale. So you don't have to worry about 403 errors or being blocked, fingerprinting, um, a lot of technical issues that developers run into. Bright Data solves them for them so that they don't have to spend any time implementing them. Um, about 2 years ago, Bright Data made a switch, and we said, at the moment, we're providing the infrastructure for data collection, which is great, and we're going to keep on doing that, and we'll be the best in the market at providing the infrastructure. But a lot of our customers are actually looking for data. They aren't even interested in the infrastructure; they just want the data. At that point, we decided to set up our platform in a way that anybody with a technical background, and later on without a technical background, could come in and easily start scraping web data. They don't need to worry about their proxies, their web unblockers. It's all built in. So if you're a realtor or a small real estate company sitting in the US and you need to start scraping a lot of information from the web, you'll be able to do that with Bright is our data sets. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
From my end, you went out a little bit, but yeah, we think we can move forward.
okay, good. All right, our data sets. Bright Data has put together a marketplace of data sets that have value to our potential customers. So when it comes to the real estate arena, we're talking about sites like Zillow, like a realtor.com. Any information that you could need, we're able to access it almost instantaneously. You would log into our platform, and I'll walk you through this in just a minute. You'll see what it looks like and understand the power of web data, but the instant access that you could get to all this information. All right. I can go on about integrations, but you'll see that within the platform in just a few minutes.
Awesome. Thanks, Noah. Yeah, I think it'd be great to maybe share your screen at this time, just to get an overview of what Bright Data looks like, the product. And some of the things that you mentioned, just want to make sure it resonates with folks who maybe aren't as technical too. An example for like the IP addresses, where Noah mentioned a great point, right? You have a team that may be sitting outside of the US and they can't actually access certain web pages because it shows that they're not in the US. Having a different IP address could really help with that. Just like if you are a big sports fan like myself and you move out of your market, the New Jersey, New York market, you can't watch your teams. You use a VPN that has a different IP address to then watch your original market. So transitioning over to the real estate space again, a lot of questions that I receive are around Zillow, for example. How do I quickly have like a spreadsheet of, say, maybe an address list of properties, and how do I quickly get property data for them? Or how do I get all listings for, say, Toledo, Ohio into a list? This is where web scraping can really come to play to help save time, to deliver automation, and one of the solutions that Noah's going to be showing.
All right, thanks a lot. Well, exactly. I appreciate the example. That's one thing that I ran into before, as you mentioned. I'll share my screen if that's okay.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Wonderful. All right, there we are. Okay, so here's a great example of a website. If any of you are not in the US at the moment, you might want to check out some of these websites. you'll see that a lot of them give you a 403 error, access denied. And the reason for that is because your IP isn't in the US. And this is very valuable information. Whether you're a real estate agency or a company trying to collect data for real estate, if you don't have the IP network in place, then you're missing out on all this information that your competitors are just pulling into their databases. And that would really be a shame to miss out on. And I could see, just not as a real estate guru, but I could see how valuable this information could be. This is only about one specific property. Imagine if you had all this information about a whole neighborhood or even a zip code. Crazy things you could do with that, especially with AI. Wow. All right. So first things first, we're going to talk about Zillow and Bright Data's capabilities within Zillow. So just a quick search on Google, and this is a good sign that our SEO team is doing a good job. But beyond that, our Zillow, what we looked for here was Bright Data Zillow, our Zillow Scraper API. We'll have a look at this tool in a second. Okay. But something else that you'll notice is Bright Data's datasets are quite popular, and they're even held on external platforms. These are partner platforms, but if you use DataRate AI and you'd like to download our dataset from there, you could do that without a problem. And something that's very interesting that I would like to show you is how Bright Data is even available through AWS's marketplace. If you use AWS, then you could simply go into the marketplace, search for Bright Data, and here it is, Zillow property listings. And we'll look at this on Bright Data itself, but if you do use AWS, you could access the same data set through their platform. All right. So here's an example of our Zillow Scraper API. Now, a Scraper API essentially is built in order to collect specific information from a page. A developer would have to define, or based on your use case, you define what data you would like to access. And then once you trigger your API, it just starts to flow. And we can collect a lot of data. Examples of the data could include everything about the listing. You could even create timestamps to see the history of a specific listing. And that way you could find the trend and understand if the prices are going up, if they're going down. If you're a realtor and you'd like to be alerted when a specific listing's price changes, you could do that by collecting the data, having it sent to your database, and then running a function which sends you an alert as soon as a price changes. We have a lot of videos on that on our website. So any developers who are interested in those projects could just learn how to take care of it pretty quickly. Okay, that's our Zillow Scraper API.
Actually, no, sorry. Before we move on, if you could stick to this page and just scroll down a little bit.
Oh, sure.
Where it has the sample data. Because we did have a great question in the chat on how is the data formatted when it's scraped? Is it cleaned?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. That's one of the benefits of Bright Data. When we provide the data, it's clean. We make sure that you're receiving data that's ready to be used. Okay, whether it's through our API, whether it's through our data sets, you don't have to have a data analyst go through the data to clean it for you. Okay, so definitely one of the benefits, you can receive the data as a JSON file or a CSV, whatever you need, really. And the good thing about this, if you're using the API, you can also define how you want it to be delivered, whether it'll be delivered to you as a file, as one file. Generally, that doesn't work because they're huge files. You could only imagine if you're a realtor or a real estate company that's looking for a lot of data, you can get files that are in the hundreds and well, I guess thousands of gigabytes. So that's something that you would want to have connect directly to your servers. Okay, and that's something that Bright Data could do as well. Okay.
Great, thank you.
Great. Let's see what it looks like on the inside, because we wanted to see how you could find the data on Bright Data's marketplace, and then later on run some filters to see how you could extract the data that you need. Okay, so this is what our platform looks like. I mentioned in the beginning that we have our proxy and web scraping section. That's the initial part of our platform. But we aren't going to focus on that at the moment, because if you're looking for data for real estate, chances are you just want the data and you don't want the process. And I'll just say it again, it's kind of funny, but companies invest a lot of money in the process when what they need is really the data. Okay, so keep that in mind, and that's really one of the benefits of Bright Data. Okay, so this is actually a demo account. So you could see in the past, I've dabbled with some information on Indeed. I was looking for to do a project on some job listings. Okay, but now we're going to go to the dataset marketplace. It's right over here. And we'll go down to real estate data. Now you can see we have a number, quite a few data sets that are ready to go. When I say ready to go, it means we've already scraped and collected this data for you. So it's ready in real time. If somebody comes in and says, I need Zillow data right now, they don't have to start scraping. They just have to go here and choose the data set they need. Okay, now we're looking at the key data set. That's what I call it, the main scrape. And you can go in here and filter it down as you need it. Okay, so there are two key data sets. The main one here is the Zillow property listings. And then you have the Zillow price history. That's a different field on Zillow. And it's great for monitoring trends and so on. But it's not the key information that you need. Okay, so let's have a look at the data set. Now, any data analyst or data engineer who comes into the platform and wants to download the information already, like download a sample CSV in order to get started with their project, they could do that for free, meaning you don't need to even purchase any information to start working with the data. Okay, just one moment. Let's go back here.
Yeah, I can imagine 123 million records. Probably takes a bit of time.
It does, and I'm trying to find a way to get it to work a little bit faster for you guys, but if not, then we'll just try to pull it up again. I apologize for the little wait. There we go. It was my connection. All right, cool. So as this populates, we'll see what data we were able to pull from the product pages on Zillow. So you could see the Zillow ID. I actually clicked on this. All right. The city, state, I guess is close to home for you, Ariel.
Yeah.
New Jersey. Okay, and you can see the status. It's recently sold. Now, why is this information important? Because you might want to look at your comps. You might want to see what listings are selling, how fast they're selling, how long they've been on the market. So if you take a snapshot of the Zillow dataset for a specific area today, and then you check it again tomorrow, you could actually monitor the differences and ask your product or your platform to tell you what's changed. Has the price gone up? Has it sold? And then highlight those listings. And then based on that, you could start to get the data that you need in order to create insights, actionable insights, hopefully, that can help you guys with whatever you need. So these are the fields that are available: the bedrooms, bathrooms, the price, when it was built, a lot of the core information that realtors need in order to work properly and efficiently. This is something which is really interesting, the longitude and latitude. And that's interesting because if you're taking this data and putting it on a map using GIS, any type of tool, Google Maps, whatever it is, you have all the details, all the data that you need to take the information and then convert it into something that's actionable right away. Okay, and I'm still scrolling through all these through all these data points. Really crazy how much data you can get here, including the URLs, if there's a house tour available. I think you get the point. All right.
Yeah. I think also what's really key here, and you did mention this, is that I find a lot of folks who they want to build something, maybe a model to help predict future prices, but they get stuck on the data collection aspect. They spend weeks trying to get the data in place, how to host it. And ultimately, they give up before they even get to like the data analysis and the modeling. So this is where one of the core strengths is, I believe, of Bright Data is allowing you to speed up your process and get right into the research phase.
Definitely. And if you think of it from a business perspective, if you try to calculate how much time your developers are going to spend collecting that data, vs just going to Bright Data and purchasing a data set, it can't even compare. So I think that there's really a lot of value there. The next step, this is just the sample. You can just, anyone logging into Bright Data could sign up for an account, download over here. You get a nice CSV file, or you could also see the data in JSON, whatever's better for them. Another key feature here, which is very, very important, is the filtering system. You could decide what data you need from this data set before you download. So what are the benefits to that? The benefit there is that you're, first of all, not downloading anything you don't need. So it's easier for you to work as a data analyst or to incorporate it with your software or your analysis tools. Secondly, you don't pay for data that you're not purchasing, which is a big thing. If you sign up to an API that's available with real estate companies, you generally sign up for a certain amount of data, regardless if you use it or not. Or you might sign up for a flat rate. You're able to use our API on a monthly basis, and it will cost you X. So with Bright Data, you're able to download the data that you need, only pay for the data that you need. And it works that way both on our data sets and also with our web scraper API. Obviously, the more data that you use or that you consume through our platform, the cheaper the amount will be for the amount of data. Right. So the more you scale, the cheaper it gets per data per
Makes
segment.
sense. We
All
do
right.
have one question, and I'm going to take this one. Great question. Can I pull for sale by owner or pre-foreclosure using this data set? If you can search for that within Zillow, then yes, you'll be able to find that those fields within this page and then be able to filter on it. So for sale by owner on Zillow, I believe is labeled as owner listed, which is likely a field here that you'd be able to search on.
Definitely. I'm not sure exactly which one it is here, but you could see that if it's on Zillow, it's here in the data set. Okay, and then you could say is, and then just write the field or the value, and then start filtering.
Great.
Okay, so that's the data set. Pretty straightforward, easy to use, and the value behind this, we've already discussed how easy it makes the process of data collection for any business.
Excellent. Yeah, both
Now,
like online, on demand, being able to ping the API, and then also offline, being able to gather larger set of data. Also, no, as you were going through this, you did have in your dashboard Indeed. I think you're using that
oh yeah,
scraper. And I did want to highlight that aside just from real estate data, there's so many other scrapers that are readily available that could be useful. For example, I know a lot of investors look to invest in particular areas based on employment. So if there's a lot of jobs for travel nurses in a particular area, and you're tracking that by using the Indeed scraper, that can help. If you are worried that maybe a given area is starting to contract in tech jobs, you could start to monitor that as well using Indeed. Yeah, Noah, could you detail some of
yeah.
the other data sets you have?
Well, I'm really happy that you brought that up because it was actually one of my discussion points. So we can dive right into that. I'm just going to hop over here to our dataset page, dataset marketplace. We could actually look at some of the highlights here, and this is a marketing page, so you don't have all the information. And the best thing to do if you're looking to browse through our platform is to actually log in and then play around there. But we can get an idea of what type of data is available. Now, yeah, you mentioned that you a real estate company or a firm or a research firm would look for alt data, alternative data on a specific area. And that's another one of Bright Data's strong points. Even if we don't have the web scraper API set up and we don't have a data set ready to go, we can create it on a custom basis, or we can provide your developers with the platform they need in order to run a specific web scraper. So one, we can provide the technical solution, and we can also provide the data. If we don't have the data in one of our pre-built data sets, you can open up a request with Bright Data and we can build it for you. It's one of Bright Data's services as well. Now, where does that come into play? You mentioned jobs, right? You want to move into a place that has jobs. You want to move into a place that has active businesses and good businesses, right? Like a good example for that might be to look into Google Maps, right? And see what kind of businesses are in your area. Okay, so that's another way of taking advantage of publicly available web data from Google Maps, put in the zip code, and then say, I want a data set of all the businesses in this zip code. And then you can get a good idea of who's going to be going through a specific area, whether it's a financial area, whether there are a lot of banks or retail, or if it's more of an entertainment district. Obviously, you would know that, but it's important to actually see the information. And even if you know it as a user, or sorry, as an individual who's experienced a specific area, you've been there physically, you still need to bring the data onto a map. And that's why you would collect publicly available web data from different aspects of an area and incorporate that with your data set. Another thing that I wanted to bring up has to do with, I guess you would call it a hidden gem or a gem for realtors, and that would be foreclosures, right? Ariel, you mentioned to me before our conversation today that there are about 3,000 counties in the States, and each one has its own directory of houses for foreclosure and insight and information about different properties and valuable information that is very helpful for realtors and real estate companies. Just imagine if you are able to, not manually, but automate the process where you're constantly collecting that public information into a data set that's being built for you on a regular basis. You can do that for more than one of these websites. You don't even have to go into each one individually. You can create a web scraper API and define every day you go to this website and bring me all the new information. Do that from 5, 6, 7, you said there's 3,000, so 3,000 counties, and then build yourself a data set, align all the information properly, all the data, and then you have so much valuable information that I can't guarantee it because I don't work with your competitors, but competitors probably don't have. Not very many companies are doing this at the moment. Now, another reason I was so happy that we set up this conversation is because of the real estate industry. We're all familiar that with real estate, it's one of the best forms of investing. Well, I guess it depends who you ask, but I'm a believer in that. And data is really key. And with Bright Data, we have our key niches, which are e-commerce. We see a lot of people coming in to collect data on travel, hotels, flights, but real estate is up and coming. And what that means for us is that, or for you rather, real estate companies are using data more and more and more in order to make better decisions, to get insight, to get ahead, to have a leg up on their competitors. And that's why tools like Bright Data, our data sets, our APIs, are really the tools that realtors need or research companies need in order to provide that information in a way that's in real time, that's automated and accurate. It's also very easy to scale up when you're collecting this data. So there's really no limit whether you're a company or a freelancer. If you're a freelancer that wants to focus on a specific area or a small business, you could do that, and you could do it according to your price range, or you could do it according to the amount of data that you need. It's very flexible and readily available, and definitely worth taking advantage of.
Thank you, Noah. Some really amazing insights. Yeah, like I said previously, being able to use APIs already that are clean, use data sets, filter on them, pretty easily to get projects started right away. And what I love what Bright Data provides is the flexibility where you don't need a team of web scrapers, data engineers, data analysts, data scientists, and like to be able to even get the project, off the ground. You could just be a company that's starting to build your tech team, or like you said, a freelancer who has some technical skills yourself to get started. So one of my questions that I have for you, we do have investors who they may be on deal number 10. So they have experience in real estate. They know what they want to find online, like that maybe that county website, but they don't have the technical skills. Maybe it's intimidating to try to build that up to web scrape their county themselves. So would you suggest to do like a custom request for help, or is there another part of like the product that they should use that will be like a no-code solution?
Okay, so what I would recommend there is first and foremost having a look at the platform, seeing what data is available for them within the Zillow datasets and other popular real estate datasets. Okay, if they didn't find what they're looking for, then of course, once they've signed up to the platform, they could reach out to our customer success teams, and that's already available from within the platform. Um, all they would have to do is list the websites that they're looking to collect data from, provide us with a short explanation on what they're interested in collecting. For example, if they can give us a URL of a product page, okay, or a listings page, and say, there are thousands of pages like these that I would like to collect the data from, okay, and just give us a few examples. We'll get back to them and say, sure, that's possible, and then discuss the elements of that deal and what it would entail to make that, to create that data set for them. And then it's just a matter of preparing it on our side and then running.
Excellent. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Also, for real estate investors, a lot of their workflow may be gathering leads. So, gathering those properties that they're going to reach out to the owners. And sometimes they need information like maybe the email of that owner, cell phone, or any other contacts to help them reach out. Do you at this time provide any enrichment for leads data?
So very important to say that, first of all, Bright Data is very cautious with the personal information that we collect. If we come across an email that's publicly available, meaning if somebody's put their email within the listing, if you are interested in this listing, please contact me at my email. That's publicly available, and we're able to pass that on to somebody else. Now, when we do come across an email like that, our compliance team will send an email out to that email itself from Bright Data saying, we've collected your email address, show them where, and ask them if they're against, or if they, for any reason, they don't want us to share it, then we will take it out of our system. Okay, so if it's publicly available and the owner of the email hasn't requested that we remove it, then it's within the data set and a great way to generate leads.
Excellent. I mean, I don't hear many companies taking that level of attention to PII, so really
Yeah.
appreciate that you guys do.
Well, actually, I will dive into this just for a minute because it is very important. It's actually at the core of our business and our company values. We take, I guess you would call it web ethics, very seriously. We are actually leading the industry when it comes to web ethics. We define internally what we can collect, what we won't collect. When it comes to customers, we have specific use cases that we just won't work with, even if the information is publicly available. And sometimes, a company will decide not to accept a specific customer because they don't want to use their product the way it's intended for. And Bright Data is one of those companies. We do have a link on our site if anyone's interested, called our Trust Center. We could share it afterwards, but it's also available in our footer, which talks about web ethics. And I think it's very important for people who have any questions about the ethics around data collection and compliance. All the information is there. It's very transparent, and it's a great opportunity to learn about that. What about pictures?
Pictures for
Great
the
question.
listings for
All
on.
right. So we're able to provide you the URLs of where the pictures are hosted. You'll have to go ahead and download the picture afterwards, but we'll give you the URL of where you could find it.
That's excellent.
Yeah, I think so too. It
Yeah.
comes in handy for these listings because the images are essentially what sell the house, right? So you'll definitely want to pull that into your platform, your tool, your market research, and see how that could work.
Yeah.
Now,
And you could pair that with open source like Hugging Face to be able to classify like what's a kitchen, what's a living room, things like that
you know,
for your model.
are we talking about AI yet?
Oh yeah,
I'm just
we can
waiting.
start right after this comment here. So thank you, Flo. You mentioned that you're a licensed agent with MLS access. Can Bright Data scrape the data on your behalf or create a tool to do so? So in this case, Noah, it's a platform where the user has access to it, but there is a login perspective. So I'm not sure it's really
Yeah.
public
So this
access.
is a great example of what we can't and won't do. All right. If you have to log into a specific website in order to access the data, then we see it as off limits. And sorry, you're going to have to hire lots of people to log in with your with your credentials and start collecting data manually. But you can't do that through Bright Data.
Got it. And then we did touch upon AI ever so slightly. So is Bright Data utilizing AI today in any way? And if so, how?
Okay, so is Bright Data utilizing AI for our data collection?
Yes.
Well, definitely. Our platform uses elements of AI in order to optimize the performance of our proxies and our unlockers, which in the end of the day helps us collect the data faster and probably better. Okay. But I think the more interesting question here is how are companies using Bright Data and the information they've collected through Bright Data and incorporating that with AI? Okay, so I'm just going to give you a cool example, something that we've tried recently that actually worked, and we're going to build this out a little bit more on our side, more as a demo project, a use case. But one of the things that we've done is we've created an AI realtor for a specific location, and it's really simple, and anyone could do it really. Go to Bright Data, download a data set. Don't go too broad because of the amount of data that you're collecting, and you have to incorporate it within a different AI tool, right? A lot of people use OpenAI. I used OpenAI. And basically, the data set that you're giving it is the LLM, right? So it's going to learn and understand the data you put into OpenAI as far as the knowledge base, right? So let's say you download the data set for a zip code or multiple zip codes in LA. Okay, now your AI has all that real live information and it knows how much the rent is for a 2-bedroom apartment in a specific zip code. Not only that, it has all the information about the other ones. So you could start asking it questions like, what is the average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment that's fully furnished? Okay, so you have that information and it will tell you. You can go a step above and say, create a graph showing me how many houses there are over a specific or between price X and Y in a specific zip code that has a school nearby. And it'll give you all that information. It's really neat. How many houses were sold in this zip code in the past month, right? So once you've put that information into an AI platform, you're actually talking to a chatbot, which is answering questions that a realtor could ask if they had that information, could answer if they had that information. Only you're doing it in seconds. That's
Yeah,
just a fun example. You could take that further and build a company around it.
of course. Yeah, it provides so much value. And we did have another follow-up question in terms of, if you're not there yet with the technical skills to build maybe the custom solutions, you did mention previously, Noah, that you can pretty much submit like your use case to Bright Data, and then you guys would review. Could you quickly show, if you don't mind, on your screen how you'd be able to do that?
Yeah. So you go to the data sets. 1 second, web data. Okay, custom data sets. Okay, new data set.
Oh, if you
And
could
here
share
it
the
is.
screen again.
Oh, sorry about that. Am I sharing my screen? No. Sorry about that. Let's share my screen.
No worries.
All right, let's try that one more time. You'd go to web data. Okay. You could see over here we have custom data sets. Click on that. At the moment, there's nothing in my account because I haven't created any yet, but I would click over here on new data set. All right, and it's right over here. Okay, if you would prefer a hands-off approach, it means it's fully managed. That means we fully manage the data collection, structuring it, and so on. We handle everything from project setup to delivery, how it works. Simply tell us what you need. It doesn't get any easier than that. And why choose this? Well, it's ideal for anyone who doesn't have a technical background and just wants the data in a way that they could start using it. You hit click continue. It'll once you click continue, it'll ask you for the URL that you're interested in. Oh, here's a good example of AI. And then our AI tools will give you an estimate of how much that should cost before sending it to our customer support, who will then come back to you and give you a proper quote. Okay, so right away after you submit your request, you'll understand more or less how much that data set will cost based on the amount of data you'd like to collect and the difficulty of the page and so on. A lot of parameters come into play there, and you're able to get a quote within minutes.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. We do have another follow-up question here. So, are you able to make a connection to Go High Level for this data? And what this means, Noah, Go High Level is a CRM that a lot of folks use. So, say if they did a custom solution or they use Zillow data and they had it in like a CSV file, but they want it to be a connection, maybe via like an API into their CRM.
Okay.
Do you support that?
Okay, so for the most part, we do. What we'd probably do in that case is create a webhook, have the API connect with a webhook, and then from that webhook, you would just pull it into your platform. I think that should do it.
Yeah, that should do it. And then for folks who are maybe in the in between where they use softwares to connect things like Zapier or Make, I guess I could use a Zapier webhook. Or do you have any integrations with Zapier?
Okay, so I'm glad you asked. And yes, you can integrate with Zapier, and we're working on Make at the moment. The integration might be ready to go. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. We actually, give me a second.
Sure.
Let me just pull this up.
And while Noah does, if you have further questions, please ask in the chat.
Okay, so yeah, with Zapier, it's in progress, and Make should almost be ready. It's something we've been working on for a while.
You'll have to
could
share
easily-
screen again. Sorry, Noah.
Okay, sorry about that. No, it's okay. I don't have what to pull up at the moment. I'm just saying
Okay.
that Zapier and Make integrations are easily available with the webhook, and that's how you would connect. Once the data is pulled over to Zapier or Make.com, then you could basically do whatever you need to do with it.
Perfect. Really flexible.
Yeah. All right.
And what are you excited for the future of Bright Data?
Wow, the future of Bright Data. Well, I'm excited for the company because it's a company that's doing fantastic things when it comes to data. And one of the things that I mentioned within our discussion, real estate is an up and coming industry for Bright Data. People are looking for the information and trying to package it properly to make it more accessible and more usable. But there are so many different industries beyond real estate where Bright Data is actually we like to call it the shovel, right? We provide the data into the platform, and we're able to do that in so many different ways and package the data in the way our audience needs to receive it, our customers need to receive it. So we're saving them so much time, so much effort, and just making a process that used to be borderline painful easily accessible and quick. So I'm looking forward to those new challenges that we'll overcome as a company, and also help businesses get the data they need, whatever it is. It's always fun to see how different customers are using data in different ways, especially when it comes to AI. It's really crazy. Some of the use cases that we've seen are mind blowing, and it's great to be a part of that.
That's excellent. Yeah, really appreciate everything that you guys are doing and maintaining web integrity throughout the process as well. Can't say that
Definitely.
across the board for for others that may try to be in your space. So it's really impressive.
Thank you very much. It's important to us, so we put it as our top priority.
Great. Well, I don't think there's any other questions for today, and I know it's late on your end, Noah, so we can conclude at this time. But quickly before I do, just want to share here for those who want to follow you or follow Bright Data, how would they do so?
All right, great. So the best thing to do is follow us on LinkedIn. Follow Bright Data's page. You could connect with me happily, and we'll find ways to share information and insights, especially regarding real estate. If you sign up to Bright Data, you'll receive our newsletter on a regular basis, and you'll find a lot of interesting information there. If we have another 30 seconds, I'd recommend visiting Bright Data's Web Data Masterclass. If you're sharing your screen already, you could just hop into that. There's a link in the footer. And basically, the Web Data Masterclass is a collection of projects that we've put together. Yeah, you'll find it there.
What was it
Projects
called?
that we've put together, Web Data Masterclass. Videos created by popular developers online. Some of them you may be familiar with. These are all developers that have used Bright Data as part of their projects. They show you how the platform works, how to integrate it properly. We have a few interesting real estate projects coming up. There's another one which we'll add shortly that shows you how to integrate real estate data with Snowflake. A lot of companies are doing that now. And with their AI capabilities at the moment, you could really take it to the next level. So I'll leave you with that. For any developer or anyone who's slightly technical, you'll love this hidden gem on Bright Data.
Yeah, this is excellent. We'll need to definitely have some tutorials on my front to land on this page. So if you guys have any particular things that you want to see with Bright Data and related to real estate, please do leave a comment or let me know via email. And with that, Noah, thank you so much. Next week for the live stream, we do have stacked leads lists with the batch service team. We'll have both Evo and Max here. So super excited, and thank you all so much.
All right.